My next guest, he's a professional mixed martial artist. He's currently on season 31 of TUF. He's a 15-6 professional mixed martial artist, and most recently on episode 3, you saw him get a dub. Please welcome onto the show, Austin Hubbard. How you doing,
Hey, how
Austin?
you guys doing? Good. How you?
Good, man. Good, man. Happy to have you on, man. It's been wild, I'm sure, for you, right?
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Absolutely, man. Well, first of all, congratulations on that win. Is it weird for you're an athlete, you're a fighter, but is it weird for you to like kind of like celebrate a win that happened a couple months ago?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really weird watching that like with all my friends and family and stuff. Like the fight happened months ago,
Yeah,
but then like it's their first time seeing it. I'm like, and I'm in the room with them. Usually, I'm fighting when they're all together
yeah,
watching
yeah.
it. So yeah, it was kind of weird, but it was also still kind of cool.
How did you? I don't know, man, because I'm assuming you got the whole. Just tell me, bro. Just tell me. Just tell me. I'm like, I can't say anything, right? I can't say anything. But
Yeah.
is it hard to kind of like keep a straight face like while you're watching there? Can you even like react to anything like while your like family's watching this thing? Because I'm sure you don't want to spoil anything for them either. Of course, why would you, right? You want them to see the story, the journey.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some of that. A lot of people ask,
Yeah,
how to go with this and that. I just give them the same old answer. You gotta tune in and find out.
that's wild. But I mean, I'm sure once that episode aired, right, it's a good feeling, right?
Yeah, yeah.
How was any memorable responses from your family, your wife?
Oh, they were all. I've been getting a lot of compliments. Everyone was saying how good I looked in that fight, and something that I really wanted to bring out in my as part of my evolution of being an MMA fighter was just being a lot more mean and aggressive in there, and I feel like I kind of showed that I'm making that step because I feel like that's one of in the UFC, that was one of my holes,
Yeah.
so to speak, was kind of that go skill wise. I know I'm there, you know what I mean? I was lacking a little bit in that department, and it's something I've put a ton of focus on in the past, 2 years, 3 years, and I think it's starting to come together and show in my fights.
I had a couple people that were watching the show, asking me, "Oh, have you heard of who you are and stuff, and how you fought?" Um, the biggest thing that I heard from people is you looked very confident,
Yeah.
like that confident, like in your body language and everything. And dude, I mean, you stuffed a good couple of takedowns in there, and I remember watching that, and I was like, dude, that is like just peak performance, man. I mean, walk me through that through the game plan. Do you feel like it was one of your best performance? Do you feel like that was you at your peak, man, or do you
Yeah.
feel like you could always improve and do better than that?
Yeah, watching it, I've seen it, a
Yeah,
handful of times now, and every time I'm like, "Ooh, I need to work on this, improve that." So
yeah,
there's always that, at least for me,
yeah,
it's easy for me to pick out things
for sure.
that I want to fix and tighten up. But that's also the nature of this game. This MMA is such a crazy sport, and it's always something to work on. There's always something to improve. Like no
Yeah.
matter how well you think you did, or all those sort of things, there's always something to work on. And I feel like taken away from that fight. I just have to, tighten up a few little things. But overall, I was very happy with it.
Now, is it weird talking about this, knowing what happens next already before that? Is that weird?
Yeah, a little bit.
I hear that. How was Chandler's response to you, man? It looked like he was very happy for you. Is there was there like some sort of camaraderie that was formed in there in your time there with him?
Yeah, definitely. Chandler was a great coach, and he brought in great coaches, and like our team and the coaching staff, we all clicked very well, like almost instantly. Soon as like that first day of practice came around, and it was a really cool experience because I going into it, I didn't really expect to meet friends. I didn't really expect to like click as close as I did with like the people and the coaching staff. Oh, excuse me.
Not good.
And it was really cool because, like I said, we all just instantly clicked. We get in training, we all clicked, and all of our personalities blended really well together. And I think yeah, it was almost like a perfect little storm, for the tough experience is such a out of the normal experience for a fight. You know what I mean? You're isolated in a house
Yeah.
for weeks, and you're all new people you never met, all new coaching staff. You're possibly fighting multiple times in a short period of time, and it's just such a different fighting experience. And it's a really taxing experience as well. But you can grow a lot from that sort of thing for sure.
Now, we're all human beings before anything, you're a human being before a fighter. So emotions can kind of get to us and stuff. I think we've all had bad days, right? For you, being in a situation where you're living with let's call it strangers for now, strangers that you never met, I'm sure out of was it like 15 other people, you're not gonna click with everyone. It just doesn't
Yeah,
happen. How did you and it's very easy for us to say, oh, or get mad or whatnot. How do you keep your composure? How did you keep your composure? Because I'm sure
yeah.
at some point, Austin, there must have been a point in there where you're like, oh, I'm so aggravated. Because I talked to Cody Gibson
Yeah,
last week on the show. And he talked about some of the people like not clean up after themselves and stuff. You can
yeah,
tell. I mean, what kept you sane in that experience?
yeah. So I'm a very easygoing person.
Yeah.
I really am unbothered by a lot of things. Like it
Okay.
takes a lot to make me be like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt like I kind of had an upper hand in that aspect of living with strangers because I am so like go with the flow type of person. Um, yeah, and it did help. Everyone on the show was really cool. There wasn't really anyone in that I felt like, man, I don't like this dude, or
Yeah.
damn, he's so annoying type of
Or
thing.
messy or
So I think,
whatever.
yeah, I think that helped a lot as well. Just even like by the end of the show, like we were all hanging out together,
Yeah.
Team McGregor, Team Chandler, like as friends in the house. So it was cool. And like I said, it helped that everyone for the most part was pretty cool. So it made it easy.
For you, in your training and stuff in there, you train with a bunch of savages. I mean, you train with Team Elevation over there.
Yeah.
Gaethje's an animal. Going in from like training with the people you train with in Team Elevation, and then going in training with a guy like Michael Chandler, man, how much more did that make you better? How much did that elevate you more?
Yeah, like I was saying before, it's such a crazy experience
Yeah,
because it's a lot compacted into a little time. So, when I felt, with training with such a great team, Elevation Fight Team, I was really prepared going into like as far as like the skills and stuff like that. So in I don't want to say I didn't learn anything. I did. It was a great experience. I got great work, but it was like a compact experience. So it's like hard to,
yeah,
take away a bunch of new skills, you know what I mean, from that sort of short, compact experience. Cause like, you know, you're not fighting every week, but you're like, you got help. You're focusing on the people who are fighting. And then when it is your turn, you get the attention, and it's just like I don't know. It's just a crazy experience, and like I did take away good things, but I don't feel like I, made any, or learned any like groundbreaking new things from
yeah.
it. Not to say I wasn't like getting good training. I definitely was. It was worthy and great. I just it's just hard to get a
Yeah.
lot out of such a short compacted thing, if that makes sense.
No, no, no. I completely understand. Now, I know one of the things you said, I think, in your home video was daughter's friends asking you about Conor McGregor. Did you get those
Yeah.
kind of questions when you got back?
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of questions about him when I got back, just from about everyone I encounter. How is he as a person? Is he like, what you see on TV? And the answer is yes. uh he's he's an interesting dude. He's I feel like I keep telling everyone he's like everything you see and hear is true. Like he's really cool. He's really down to earth at times. He's really wild at times. He's
Yeah.
really arrogant at times. Like, I mean, he's Connor's Connor and he's just doing his thing and he's making a lot of money. So I mean, I would never hate on that. But I've had me personally, it was a good experience. You know, he was always really cool to me and around me and stuff. So I have nothing bad to say. It's just uh, you know, he's in his own world, so to speak.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But I'm sure it must have felt cool, like your daughter's friends. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
your
yeah,
child's friends, like asking you, dude. You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah,
kind of makes the kid feel cool, kind of cool. You know what I mean? My
yeah,
dad, my
yeah, for
dad, my
sure.
dad met Conor McGregor.
Yeah, yeah,
No, awesome, man. Now, how's the week been? Right, episode aired. Right, I feel like that's kind of like where fighters that are on the show kind of get a lot of attention. People
yeah.
reaching out. Did you get a lot of that?
Oh yeah, man. I've gotten a ton of that, and I always try to respond to everyone, but man, it gets harder and harder
You're hearing him right
when
now, folks. He's not
yeah,
ghosting you.
yeah. I've literally spent hours trying to just make sure I can respond to everyone, and I do my best. I may not get everyone back, but I definitely try to.
So for you, let's take it back before the Ultimate Fighter, right? So you were in the UFC, you fought there. It didn't go your way that first time around there. At that point, did you think that was it for you in the UFC, or was it let's just get back to work kind of mentality?
Um, a little bit of both. So when I first got released, my manager kept telling me, "Oh, you're on the short notice list. You're on the short notice list. Stay ready. You're the next. They're gonna call if they need someone." Well, so I spent a year and a half, being ready, accepting literally dozens of fights. In the UFC, outside of the UFC, in different countries, different weight classes,
Jeez.
and nothing ever came together. I managed to get two fights in the time from being released by the UFC and
Yeah,
then the Ultimate Fighter.
of course.
But those two fights were really hard to get. You know what I mean? And like I said, I was accepting any and all offer that came my way, whether it be UFC, or other, regional promotions or, promotions in different countries and weight classes, and nothing was panning out. So I was, when I first got released, I was feeling good because I kept being told, "Oh, you're on the short notice list.
Yeah.
You had a good run, but they just want to see a little more, get a win or two, and they'll re-sign you right away. Or if they need you, they'll call you." Well, when that wasn't happening, that's when I was like, started losing hope, and I was living in Colorado. It's really expensive out there. I was
Oh, yeah, I've heard.
being
I've heard.
being told I'm on the short notice list, stay ready, stay ready. Like I was in constant like fight camp mode. So that does like I was putting my time and effort into being ready if an opportunity came. So that takes away, your money making opportunity and going instead of, training so much, you have to go work some. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was in the UFC, I was making enough money where I didn't have to worry about that. I was doing fine. But then when that stopped coming in, I wasn't getting those, fight checks anymore of what I was getting. And
Yeah.
when you're not getting a paycheck for over a year and living off of your savings and having a family to take care of and living in an expensive state like Colorado, I mean that ran out, pretty quick. And then debt, a lot of debt started piling up and financial stress really started to hit me. And I just couldn't sustain, living in Colorado anymore and dedicating, full time to being ready for the next call that was never coming.
Yeah.
So after, a year and a half of that, I had to move back to my home state. And I live in Dixon, Illinois now. And, I had to start working full time for I was lucky enough to be in a position that my wife's her father owns a company called Supreme Cleaners, and we had instant jobs, and he has rental property, so we had a house right away to move into. It kind of worked out timing wise where the people living in the house were moving out, and so he was going to have a house open for us. So it was just you know, I just couldn't do it anymore. I just literally, it was so stressful, and I just ran out of time pretty much. So we made the move back home, and I've been back in Illinois for about 7 months now after living in Colorado for 7 years. You know, not being able to get fights or anything. I just started focusing on working and making money. I wasn't I was still accepting fights and trying to get fights, but nothing was coming. And so I started giving up mentally. I was like, all right, well, maybe I'm just done fighting, and it is what it is. I'll move on to the next stage of my life. You know, I
Yeah.
have, I was going through a lot of things personally in my life, and financially it was very stressful and
Yeah.
everything going on. I was really just, life was beating my ass, and I was really down and out, so to speak. And then out of nowhere, I got this call from my coach. He was like, "Hey, the TV producer for Ultimate Fighter just called me. They want you on the show." And I was in a really bad spot mentally and everything, and I was just like, "Man, I don't even know if I want to do that." So he kept telling me, because I got called short notice, like a few weeks before the show was supposed to start, and I didn't get a hold of the guy for a day or two, and he kept hounding me. They're gonna move on if you don't reach out, reach out, reach out.
Yeah.
So finally, I reached out to, it was Joey Varner, and talked to him, and I ended up filling out an application. Even when I filled out the application, I was like, I'm just sending it in. I Doesn't mean I'm necessarily gonna do it. You know what I mean? So I sent it in, and then they're like, all right, we want you on, we want you on. And so I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm gonna do it. I think at the end of the day, I'll regret later on down in life if I didn't take this opportunity. So I'm gonna do it. So I flew out to Colorado. I trained for a week and a half, and the original, start date was January 26th.
Yeah.
Um, I was training, getting ready. Like I said, a week and a half went by, and Joey called me and said, "Hey man, I'm sorry. We're working on coaches and this and that, and the coaches we wanted, we can't lock in. So we're not doing the theme anymore," which obviously the theme ended up being Vets
Betson.
versus Prospects. And so we can't take you on the Ultimate Fighter anymore.
No fucking way. They
Yeah,
said no fucking way.
yeah.
Holy
So
shit. All right.
yeah, and I dropped everything, spent a bunch of money going out there, and
So
making that happen. I was away from work, so I wasn't getting paid. Um,
so
had to,
let me stop you so the audience can understand. So you're going through what you're going through. You get a call, tough. It's gonna happen.
yeah,
I guess you have to obviously stop what you're doing. You
yeah,
travel to Colorado,
yep,
right? And you're having to obviously trying to make it work. And then you
yeah,
get a call telling you, yo, we're probably not gonna use you. Or did they just tell
yeah,
you definitively, like, no, you're out?
yeah. No,
Which
he
one?
just said no.
Oh shit. Oh
He
man.
just says like,
Just so the
no, we're not.
audience is following here.
Yeah, he was like, no, we can't do that.
How did
We're
that
not
feel?
running with that theme anymore. It's crazy because I can remember it clear as day. It was a sparring day. I had a great day of training. I was like, man, I'm gonna win the show. Like
Yeah.
I'm feeling good. I didn't train not once from my last fight in October up until that point of leaving for training, because I had a bunch of injuries. I was trying to heal up, and just I was in a bad spot. So I literally few months of no training or doing anything but just working, and then got a week and a half in, and then got told, I was excited. I was happy again training, and because that kind of left, with all the other stress and things going on, that I just wasn't even having fun anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and it felt good. And then literally after sparring, seeing the message, I was like, damn, that sucks. Ended up flying home the day after. And,
Oh my
I kept having to buy one-way tickets. And last minute one-way tickets were like $300 or more each
yeah.
ticket. I ended up spending over almost $1,000 just on that. Because so I fly back home. I'm working, the rest. I went
Back
back
to
to work right
life,
away.
right? Yeah, back to
Yeah.
life.
And I was like, it is what it is. And then it was a Thursday or Friday. He messages me again, like literally 2 days before the start date. And we're like, oh, actually, we are going to do that. And do you want to still do it? We want you to be on the show and this and that.
So
And so I'm like,
we're still doing the thing, the vet and prospect thing.
yeah,
You still want to
yeah.
do 2 days before?
After I flew back home, finished out the week and whatever, and eating and doing what I just living a regular ass life.
Yeah.
And 2 days before the start date, hey, we want you back. So I was like, man, is the start date the same? And they're
Was
like,
it new start date or the same?
well, initially it was the same. So I was like, well, whatever, I'll do it, whatever.
Oh fuck, you
But
already
then
did the
like,
time, man.
yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna fly out and give it my best shot on a week and a half of training. And um once like a day went by or whatever, and they moved the start date back like 3 weeks, I think it was, or a week and a
Okay.
half or 2 weeks or something. So then I flew back out to
I was gonna say,
Colorado.
please don't tell me you flew back.
Yeah,
Okay.
I flew back out to Colorado. I got one more week of training in,
Did
and
you get a
then flew to
guarantee
Vegas.
this time though?
Yeah,
Did you get
well,
a guarantee is gonna happen?
no, not
Oh,
like
that's fucked. All
set
right.
in stone guarantee, but
Fair enough.
I took the gamble. I flew back out to Colorado, got one more week of training. So overall, I had 2.5 weeks of training before going on the show. And when I got to Vegas and everything, I was like, all right, this is happening. I'm safe now. But we were in a hotel for almost 2 weeks, and they're deciding who they're even
I was
taking
gonna
in the house.
say you're safe,
So
but yeah.
yeah, so luckily, obviously, I made it into the house and everything, and made it into the show and whatnot. But yeah, it was up and down, back and forth, round and round process. Mentally and physically.
Dude, that's a
Getting
whole
to
nother
the
fight
ultimate
before
fighter.
the that's a whole nother fight before the fight, right?
Yeah. So it
Oh
was
my
it was
god.
it was it was an experience, man. The whole thing surrounding it, and it was just out of left field. I had no idea they're even doing another season, and it just I don't know. It was now that I'm through it and over it and whatnot. I'm like glad it happened. Obviously, I
Yeah.
think a lot of good's gonna come out of it, but it was quite the experience going through it and the whole thing behind it.
No, no, for sure. I mean, even then, and then I'm sure. So I know you were at the hotel. You're allowed to even be on your phone
So they did let us keep our phones in the hotel this time. They didn't take our phones till the day before going into the house. But I guess in the past, typically they do take away their phone.
Yeah.
Like when we were in the hotel, like you can't leave your room unless like they okay it.
Yeah.
So you're locked in a hotel room. Is super boring. And
They at
you
least hook you up with a sweet man or something.
no, just
Oh,
a regular ass room. And then give you little meals throughout the day and you can't leave unless you schedule your workout times, which is only the shitty hotel room workout room. That's all we had. And
Did they tell you the
yeah,
purpose of that?
I have no idea.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know if they're like testing you to see how you do, if you get on edge or lose it, or you know what I mean. I don't know the purpose behind it. I'm sure there was some sort of purpose, but
Yeah, leaks, but and
yeah, leaks and
allegedly, I mean, I'll tell you this, allegedly is a very important word. There was a lot of leaks coming out, you know what I mean, of
yeah,
who was there and who was with what team. I feel like you're kind of like telling me this where they're, and this is no disrespect to anyone doing the show stuff, but I mean, you saw. I feel like it was very poorly hidden sometimes. Some of that stuff
yeah,
like on there, like we've seen. Not gonna name specific things, but allegedly, we saw some leaks of who was who or who was with what team and stuff. So I just,
yeah,
no matter how hard you try, stuff's gonna get out, man.
yeah,
That's
and
my personal opinion.
yeah, they take telling details before it's revealed very seriously.
Yeah,
Um,
a hundred
but it's
percent.
like I felt like Connor was posting stuff while he was in there doing it, and like
I was out there drinking.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. He's coming out.
Yeah,
My wife, sent me pictures while I was in the house. Like I seen, this picture going around. I swear this was you, and it was me. What I mean? Before it was revealed, I was on Team Chandler.
yeah.
Um, you know, I was on Team Chandler, and somehow that got out.
Yeah.
Like a leaked picture of him and I walking and stuff, and
Yeah, bro.
uh,
There's a lot of stuff. There's a
yeah,
lot
there
of
was a
stuff.
few other things. I don't quite remember all of them, but yeah, there was quite a bit of leaks.
Did you so they took your phone away? So I mean, and this is just a very funny but weird question. So when you turn your phone on or off, whatever, did your phone just get flooded with like text messages, man, or just alerts? Ding 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 ding. I don't know if you
Yeah,
rock iPhone or Android. Android here.
I got an iPhone.
That's my guy. So
Yeah,
just nothing nonstop.
yeah, because only a few people knew I was going away,
Yeah.
gonna be gone for
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I just, you know, exited the world for 6 weeks. Pretty well, four I guess in total, because the first 2 weeks we were in the hotel and still had access to our phone. But uh yeah, once they took them, I mean, I don't think I've ever gone that long without my phone.
Did you hear about the whole Connor bringing some of his boys over and replacing people?
Yeah.
Did were you? I mean, were you nervous that you were going to be one of those?
No, not really.
Okay.
He did do that. One guy did replace another guy that was Connor's guy that he brought in, but it was
Yeah.
only one person. Like I was hearing things like, "Oh, it was like 4 or 5 people" and things like that. It wasn't. It
I
wasn't
alleged
like,
heard it was two, allegedly.
yeah. It was just one,
Okay.
which you know,
Yeah, it is what it is, man.
it's Connor. He's gonna get his way.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, how many Conor McGregors out there? Out there?
None.
Exactly. He's one in a million. One in a million, man.
Yeah.
So you were on the show, right? Time's ended for you, man. How's it just been like just being around your family, man? Hugging your wife, hugging your daughter, man. After being away, man. Can you describe that feeling for everyone out there?
Yeah, it was awesome. We've never gone that long without speaking to each other,
Yeah, yeah.
and like it was crazy. And uh I we actually ended up getting out a few days early. Like, so
Okay.
I told her, the end date that I
Yeah.
was gonna be
The end date.
getting home, and we ended up getting out, like I said, a few days early because Connor had to leave and go do a tour somewhere, whatever the case was.
Oh my
We
God. So it's
we
because of
ended up
Connor.
yeah,
That's
we
wild,
started
bro.
late because of Connor too. That's why
Uh,
they moved it back.
I'm sure there was a
Um,
lot of in, out kind of,
yeah,
yeah, alleged.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you
So
started later and then you ended a little bit later because of Connor. That was kind of a good thing, right? It was kind of a benefit there.
yeah, because I got, that extra week of training in that was helpful, very
Yeah.
helpful. But where I was going is I got out early. I didn't tell, like, everyone was like messaging their wives and families right away when they got their phones, and I was like, man, I really want to talk to him, but what's holding out one more day and just showing up at the house, flying home and showing up and just surprising him, you know, um, that seemed worth it to me, to just suck it up one more day and just show up at the house and surprise them when they had no idea I was coming. So I did that, and it was a priceless response. Like, I'm really glad I ended up surprising them and just showing up at the house and not like calling them right away when I got my phone, because I think that'll be a memory they'll have, for a long time.
Yeah. The UFC cover the flights.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay, come on. I was gonna say, come on, UFC. We gotta get on there.
They covered those ones, not the ones Colorado and back.
No, no, I mean they gotta give you at least something, right?
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Now, so how would you sum up your experience there?
It was going through it. It was very boring.
Fair enough.
Now that it's over, I'm glad I got it, and it was a good experience. All the way around. Looking back is a good experience. Like, I have nothing bad to say. I don't at all regret doing it. It was awesome. So
Do you
definitely glad I got it.
do you see a lot of stuff? I held a little tough reunion with Tough 29. We might have to do that for Tough 31. But for the Tough
Yeah.
29 cast, I had a reunion and they were telling me they didn't show a lot of stuff, or I don't know.
Yeah,
People
they
are telling
don't.
me. Okay, they don't. Okay. I just figure
Yeah.
I wanted to ask if that was an actual thing for you.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, why you got cameras on us 24/7 and use the tiniest of fraction of what you film?
Well, bro, because the
Like,
the formula is just your fight prep, like you at the gym, then which I mean, shit, you don't need cameras at the house for that. You at the gym,
yeah.
your home video, right, which isn't even filmed there,
Yeah.
then a small little interaction at the house, and then it's fight, depending on how long the
Yeah.
fight is.
They really don't show like much training videos or anything really. I mean, not much happened at the house, so I get why they're not showing much of that because we all got along. There wasn't very many house drama, but I feel like people like seeing, our training regimens or what we're doing. I feel like it kind of
They don't show the
shows,
list, bro.
yeah, it shows our what we do a lot
Yeah.
more. It gives a better picture. I've always had like when I post stuff on my IG of like me training, I've been told, "Oh, you need to post more stuff like that. We like seeing what you do." You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird.
Um, so I don't know. Maybe it's just they had to make so much work in an hour time slot. So I'm sure that's a big factor. But
Yeah, I always thought it was weird because I mean they have the app for that. No, don't know. I don't
yeah,
know. We'll see. I'd love having you. I love having you on, man. I always love the Ultimate Fighter, man. I'll always watch the Ultimate Fighter. I watch every single season of it since I was a kid, man. Let's leave it at
yeah,
that. But before we end here, Austin, it's been great having you, man. I've been doing this thing, man, every single week. We're doing Ultimate Fighter trivia, man. It's where I ask my guest here 3 questions. It's all trivia on the Ultimate Fighter. Now, Cody Gibson did a phenomenal job last week. He got 2 out of 3. He tells
he's
me
a
he was a,
smart
a
dude.
trivia a trivia savant. So we're gonna take a crack at it here. Okay, if we get
All
two
right,
out of three, man, we tend to give something to the audience out there that's listening. So no pressure.
all
All
right.
right. So I'm gonna give you an easy one first. Who was the first female to win the Ultimate Fighter?
Was it Esparza, right?
Can't say. Who was the first female fighter to win the Ultimate Fighter?
I think it's
That
Carla Esparza.
is that your
That's
final
my
answer?
that's my final answer.
That is your final answer. So that is incorrect. We got Juliana
Oh,
Pena.
oh, all right. That was my second guess. I couldn't remember which one came first.
I had it covered, man. I didn't want to, give any hints. Cody was freaking good at this, man. So, and I was like, oh, need to cover this. All right. So, which fighter? So, season 15 of The Ultimate Fighter presented the first live edition of the show. Can you tell me which were the 2 coaches that coached that season? Colors were red and blue. It
It
was the
was
first live edition.
I think it was Rashad and Rampage.
I'll give you the winner of the show to make it a little, to see if I can give you another hint here. The winner of the show was Michael Chiesa.
I don't know. I'm gonna go with that. My final answer.
All right. So the answer was Uriah Faber and Dominic Cruz.
Dang it!
Yeah. Now, so they coached on the first live edition. That was the really long edition of the Ultimate
Yeah,
Fighter,
it was
man.
like what 3 months long or
Yeah,
something.
dude, it was
Yeah.
wild. Now, the last one here. Here's where we go. Okay, so season 5 of the Ultimate Fighter had BJ Penn and Jens Pulver. They coached the first edition of one weight class in the season. It was 16 fighters, one division. As to instead of the split. So 16 fighters, one division. Who won season 5 of the Ultimate Fighter that was coached by Jens Pulver and BJ Penn? It's a very famous name in the he was in the UFC. He won under, let's just say he's a BMF. He had something to do with the BMF.
Oh, Nate Diaz.
Nate Diaz is the answer, man.
All
Nate
right,
Diaz is the answer.
I got one.
We got one. We got it 1 out of 3. Austin, though, it's great having you on, man. It's great having some fun here with some trivia here. Ultimate Fighter has been a long show, though, man. It's very hard to keep up. 31 seasons. I'm sure I'll
Yeah.
be having questions about your season coming up on the show, man. Austin, before we sign off here, man, is there anything you want to let the audience know, man?
No, just thank you all for tuning in, checking me out, and listening, and support me. Thank you.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Austin Hubbard, professional mixed martial artist. You can catch him on Tuesday nights on season 31 of The Ultimate Fighter, Conor McGregor versus Team Chandler.